an amazing, amazing movie. This film, I actually saw it I think 2 weeks ago, I think, and I took three children with autism with me to see it, and it was amazing. It was
Oh, thank you.
just amazing. I'm from beginning to end, and I'm including the volcano short because I thought that was just incredibly beautiful.
Yeah, we're
So
proud of that too. We're thank you, and we're so proud of the movie. I've spent a good hunk of my life working on it, about 5 years, all in, and I always believed in it. It was a hard movie, but now that it's out and it's being very warmly received, we're thrilled about the whole thing.
when you set out to do this, how did you come up with the aspect of a control room with the different feelings and that all kind of coming together? Because the film really sets it up very beautifully. It you know especially because she's a young mind.
Yeah.
She's young, so they're all kind of learning how to work together. And I thought you really did that wonderfully well. Can you talk a little bit about maybe how you guys came up with that and
Yeah.
how that manifested itself during production?
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that it worked and it felt right, because it was a lot of labor. It didn't always work that well in the story. I mean, we had to rework the story and the writing and the design numerous times, as we do with all these films, to make it work. But what we thought was important, and I think the film, this ended up in the film, was the script. You could imagine the script and the beat outline as we were coming up with this stuff without all the visuals of the movie. It leaned a lot towards science fiction, control panels and screens and buttons and knobs. And we didn't want it to feel too clinical. We wanted it to feel whimsical and fun. Pete Docter, the director, I mean, he's really the source of the story and the creator of the story. He said something early on that we really hung on to, which was he wanted this to be the mind as opposed to the brain. We didn't want it to be literal, inner space and so forth. So we just thought about, okay, we're going to personify emotions. What should they look like? How do they feel to us? And the fact that they sort of help pilot us. We did a lot of research, and one of the things we found in the research, talking to neurologists and scientists and so forth, was, and this sounds very simple, it's almost embarrassing to admit this now, but as we started off to make the movie, I didn't even think of emotions as having a reason to be, if that makes sense. I thought about emotions, but not that they would have specific jobs, but like there's a reason that you have disgust, for example. And so this idea in the research that they had jobs kind of led to the idea, well, they would have a room where they would work. They'd be coming to work every day, and they'd be doing their best to do a good job and so forth. So all this narrative back and forth led to this idea of a control panel and what we call a consciousness screen, and how memories might work. And it was a lot of feel with a little dash of science to try to make sure that it was somewhat authentic.
Well, and you did such an incredible job in terms of casting. I mean, each of those characters, has just the perfect voice, and they're not, they're all likable. They all make sense, and you feel for every one of them, sadness, sadness is just such a great storyline there. Talk a little bit about how the delicacy of handling that, of sadness. Because
Yeah, sadness was tricky, and she's obviously an important part of the movie and a bit of a show stealer, isn't she? I mean, we again, it came up just back to the research of thinking about these characters as having jobs, and even as you say their names, like you kind of get what everyone's job would be. Like Joy's, obviously her job is to keep Riley or her kid happy. Anger made sense to us. His job is about fairness. He sort of delegates fairness and keeps things fair. And so you can imagine that inside your head. And fear even it keeps you safe. So if you were to get bitten by a dog as a kid, you'd then avoid dogs, and that's out of being safe. Disgust was interesting. It was about avoiding being poisoned, literally, like from Darwin, like that face that you make when you're disgusted is to like expel something. And that felt easy to employ. But sadness, as we talked about it, it was a curious. And as a parent, we thought, well, why would you want your kid to be sad? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. We do everything we can to avoid it, and so that became a fun hook to us. And thinking about well, she'd be misunderstood, and Joy, our main character, wouldn't want anything to do with her. We originally had written her more of just a big crybaby. We thought it was funny, but every time Satis was on the screen, she would just crying. And then when we found Phyllis Smith, who did the voice, who's such an amazing actress. Yeah, she's so funny. But what Phyllis, she brought this hesitancy to the character. So Phyllis says everything has a question mark on it, like, I want to have lunch, and that, I don't know, that helped us define the character in a way that made her self-doubting, I guess,
right,
which felt right for the story. Sorry, long story, but
no. I think what's interesting is, and you'd certainly see this at the end of the film, and if you don't stay for credits, make sure you stay for the credits, because there's some beautiful moments in the credits. And one of the things that I don't think I'm spoiling anything by mentioning is the wonderful way you show that everyone's different. That inside everyone is different. They're all very different the way they handle it. And they're all distinct personalities inside. All the feelings are distinct personalities, but the way they handle, I guess the hierarchy inside each person is different. And I love the way you handled that. You really treated that wonderfully well. And you got the feeling. I think you get the feeling as you watch the film that her setup is going to change throughout life. And I just thought that was wonderful.
Yeah, thank you for saying it. I mean, we thought about, there's a scene, obviously, in Riley. Joy is the main character, and so Joy is kind of center stage at the wheel, so to speak. And when you cut to Mom, and people have asked us about this, or Dad, there's a different emotion sitting in the center, and that really was there just to show that Joy might have a tenure that expires. I mean, you don't always have the same emotion driving you for forever. People change and grow, and part of the messages of the film is that's okay, and that's life, right?
Exactly.